one of the things that I've liked about, ESPN, one of the things I liked working there is when people didn't talk politics. I did. I like sitting on a set talking hoops. But now that I'm not there anymore, I got to tell you, I kind of dig when these guys talk politics. Why? Well, it gives us content. Pat McAfee said, hey, look, we don't need this in sports, talking about the opening ceremony and all the drama, the Last Supper, and things of that nature. Stephen A. Smith has been very political. The little girls of ESPN, boy, they were quiet. Woo, were they quiet when a conservative voice, our friend Sage Steele, decided to say something that didn't fit their narrative. Now all the little girls are chatty, having a little sit down, and oh boy, they got a lot to say. But Stephen A. Smith still dominates. Stephen A. Smith has been given basically, hey man, say whatever you want. We don't care. You're our guy. Nobody's hurt by this. People will still watch sports on ESPN, NNN. Well, Stephen A. Smith is taking full advantage of that, and I ain't mad about it. Like McAfee saying, keep the politics out of the Olympics, Stephen A. Smith is arguing, and I think wrongly, that the Olympics opening ceremony will negatively impact Democrats in the 2024 election. See, I'm not going to get into it because I've been asked not to, but I don't think any of this matters in the 2024 election. Let's hear from Stephen A. Smith.
I'm an adult. I saw some of the dancing that was going out there. I saw somebody, just because you paint somebody in blue don't mean they ain't naked. That person that was in blue was naked. Am I lying? Am I lying?
Nope.
They were naked. There was no warning here. It's not required for the adults. I get that part. But opening ceremony of the Olympics, you know a bunch of people were watching that with their children. And some people don't want their children seeing that. Whether you like it or not, folks have a right to want their children to see and not see what they choose. I don't have a problem. Remember, I'm a conservative with my dollars. I'm a liberal every other way. I'm liberal. I get it. I'm cool. But I know tens of millions of conservatives won't be. And there's an election coming up. So what if all of a sudden Roe v. Wade, immigration, and the economy suddenly didn't become the priority that religion is? What if folks decided to go to the polls because I either love what I saw or I can't stand what I saw? You ever think about that? I don't think they did. But the conservatives did.
Somebody tell Stephen A. Smith that was in Paris. And Paris can do whatever they want to do. I mean, I don't know why. I get what he's saying. I certainly get what he's saying, and I certainly agree with what he's saying relative to kids and no warning. And I don't understand why NBC or others who had to have known what was going on in the Olympics. And you can paint it with any brush you want, but he's right. Everybody knew he was naked. Everybody knew this was flouting some weird, satanic, crazy stuff. Everybody knows that. This wasn't about the history, the fashion, the culture, the inclusivity of the Parisian people. That's not that. But, hey, it was in Paris. I mean, I don't think they owe anybody, Kamala Harris, Donald Trump, anybody, nobody, zero, zip, nada, any type of answer. I mean, it's very simple. Paris did what Paris wants. The Olympics, I think NBC made a mistake not putting a warning label on it. But the bottom line is, I don't think anybody's going anywhere. There's too much weirdness going on. Hell, today the Indianapolis Star endorsed Pete Buttigieg as the best option for Kamala Harris's vice president. I mean, Pete Buttigieg's best friend is arrested on child porn charges. Pete Buttigieg is a god-awful mayor, was a god-awful mayor in the city of South Bend, Indiana, which, by the way, is where Notre Dame is. They call him Pothole Pete. Have you ever known a worse transportation secretary? No, because you never knew who the transportation secretary was. until Pothole Pete came around. But that's the world we're living in. See, I don't think people care about any of this. I don't. Now, I do think this next part, I do think people care about. Stephen A. Smith would like to see Kamala Harris fail on the debate stage, quote tweeting Kamala's demand for a debate with former President Trump, saying they should debate at least 3 times. I agree. The more the merrier. Amen, Kamala Harris. Amen. If Trump said he'd debate President Biden any place, anywhere, as many times as he'd allow, the same should apply to the VP. That's what it's all about. I think there should be at least 3 debates between Trump and the VP. At least 3. We'll see if that happens. I don't know about you. I don't know about you. But I have a tendency to pay attention. And all Trump has said is, yes, I will debate the Democratic nominee. There are a lot of people that feel this is not going to go as smoothly as the oligarchy wants. They got rid of Biden, and now they put in Harris. I don't know why people can't just listen. I don't know why they just can't pay attention. I got a guy who's a friend of mine, Northwest Indiana guy, just realized who he was on Twitter, telling me, wow, Trump's afraid he'll walk off the stage. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I pay attention. I do. And when somebody says, I'm going to wait and see who the Democratic nominee is, that doesn't make me go, well, Trump is scared. He certainly hasn't been scared to face trials. He certainly hasn't been afraid yesterday for 35 minutes to go face a bunch of crazy-ass, angry African-American, quote, journalists who made fools of themselves. He hasn't been afraid of any of that. He hasn't been afraid to sit down and negotiate. We've seen the video of what he has told different countries' leaders about if you touch a hair on their head, we will blow your president's place up. But yet somehow he's somewhat afraid. I mean, why don't people listen? Well, sure, debate 3 times. Yeah, 4 or 5, whatever. Let's at least, if we're going to have Kamala Harris as the president, let's at least know that she stands for something, whether it's right, wrong, happy, sad, angry, or glad. I mean, let's do that. So here is the reaction on Twitter to Smith's text. Are you kidding me? Let's put this in basketball perspective, Stephen A. Smith. If somebody called out Michael Jordan and he was willing to entertain the one-on-one with anyone, all right, with someone who has 0 accomplishment, you think he is going to go to their court and play? Never. You know that, man. Why should a planted candidate who has 0 accomplishment, wasn't even the president, let our border go to garbage, have any say in where a debate happens? We will debate. Why are you scared of letting her on our turf, not where she decides? She has no credentials. That's right. That's exactly right. However, Trump, because of the way this goes, seemingly has to go to them. He did with Biden and made an idiot of Biden. Kamala Harris can't stand on what she has said. She can't stand on her record. So here's what you're seeing. You're seeing a bunch of bluster from the media about how wonderful this woman is. You're seeing a bunch of negative. Hell, go to Google. I did yesterday, and it was all articles about how Kamala Harris is smashing Trump. I Googled Trump, and that's what came out. So, look, good for Stephen A. Smith. I understand what he's saying. I think he's right in terms of a debate, no question. But damn, I got so many people saying, well, he's afraid. What are you talking about? I listened to what the man said. The man said, let's get a Democratic nominee and then have debates. Have 3, have 5. The more the merrier. No, it's amazing. You know, it is hard. It is getting harder, too, to be somebody that actually listens, somebody that actually pays attention, somebody that actually looks to see both sides, and that's what I do. You can like me, you can think I'm whatever, but that's what I do. And I would do the same for Harris. And I have. And I have not been able to come up with one thing, not one thing, that I think she makes any sense on. And don't even get me started about the border, because I don't talk or pay attention to wackos on the left or wackos on the right or wackos in the middle. I talk to cops about the border. We've had people who are in charge of the Arizona border on this show. We have people who have been to the border. Police officers in Indianapolis fighting the MS-13 gang right now as we speak on a daily basis. ICE here in Indianapolis, not exactly a border state or a border town, excuse me. It's amazing what do they say? If you fall for something, you'll fall for anything. I don't know, something like that. It's amazing. Yeah, we got beef. We got Olympic beef. Yeah, we do. We got Olympic beef. I guess this woman is an American tennis star. I guess her name is Emma Navarro. She's an American tennis star, and she goes off on her Chinese opponent, Qian Hang, after losing in the Paris Olympics, and we have official Olympic beef, grade A USDA choice beefing. I just told her I didn't respect her as a competitor. This is what Navarro had to say. I think she goes about things in a pretty cutthroat way. It makes for a locker room that doesn't have a lot of camaraderie, so it's tough to face an opponent like that, who I really don't respect. Hey, girl, you got your ass beat. And they ain't going to ask you, not for a second, how was the camaraderie in the locker room? Oh, it was wonderful. They're going to ask you, gold, silver, bronze, what'd you do when you were in the Olympics? Congratulations, by the way, on being in the Olympics. You want cutthroat? Look at those hags in the WNBA. Look at those women. I mean, are you crazy? You want cutthroat? They hate Caitlin Clark. And you're whining about no camaraderie in the locker room? Let's hear from Heng. She told me she doesn't know how I have a lot of fans. It looks like she's not happy with my behavior towards her. If she's not happy with my behavior, she can come and tell me. I would like to correct it, too, become a better player and a better person. I will not consider it attack because she lost the match. That's exactly right. Look, here's the deal. I hate to put it this way. I do. I can't stand putting it this way, but this is the way it is. When you lose, nobody gives a rat's ass what you have to say. Period. Like, ever. Like that little girl said. Like, ever. About Harrison Butker. When you lose, you shut up. If you got beef, you handle it privately, because there ain't nobody, nowhere, no how that cares what you got to say. I mean, think about it. Whatever you think of the 2020 election, when Biden and Harris won, nobody cared what Donald Trump had to think anymore. I'm sorry. They just don't. It's the way the world works. So, particularly in an individual sport, like people say, you're too cutthroat. I always answered this. Like people always said about me, man, you're crazy. You're too competitive. You're over the top. I go, well, look, I got a job to do and it's to win. That's it. Nobody right now in my life knows how I coach, when I coach, where I coach. They just Google me, and I was like 158 and 130 or something, 120, I don't know, whatever it was. That's it. That's all. And I'm sorry, but that's the way the world works. And to sit there and go, I don't like the camaraderie in the locker room. Shut up. Just shut up. Drive you nuts. But we got beef. It's too bad we can't continue to have beef. And I hope they keep beefing, because then I might watch a women's tennis match that, sadly, since Serena Williams doesn't play anymore, I don't pay much attention. I used to. I did. I could name boom, 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 boom. Amen. Martinez playing who? Chrissy? Great. Who's Gulagang playing? You know what I'm saying? Pam Shriver? What? Not anymore. Now they're uninteresting. So you know what we need? We need good old-fashioned, hardcore USDA choice beef. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. By the way, I don't think this shirt looks that good on TV. I need darker hues to make me look better. Yeah, just saying. I think it's a great-looking shirt on the golf course, great-looking shirt at the grocery store, but on TV, I need darker. I'm too white. I got all this white going. It's too much white. I need Nick's hat. Hey, Notre Dame is trying to keep, this is going to get interesting. This is fascinating to me. Notre Dame's trying to keep their rivalry alive with USC. And frankly, it's one of those games where when you turn it on and you see the colors, the red, the gold of USC, the gold of Notre Dame, right? If they're wearing green because it's a big game, whatever they're doing. It's a game that grabs you. We talked about it yesterday with Seth Greenberg. What Olympic sport grabs you? Well, you know what? What NFL or college football game grabs you? Notre Dame USC grabs you. Because of the colors, you see it, you're like, oh, this is Notre Dame USC. By the way, who's the quarterback? You know what I mean? It's the brand, really, that grabs you, and then the players that make the game. That's the way sports generally works. However, we're a little worried. We're a little worried about Lincoln Riley. I think if Lincoln Riley had his way, he would, I think, on a daily, play Purdue Calumet, Indiana University Northwest, Indiana University Southwest, Cal Poly Bakersfield, and then go into his schedule. I think that's the way he wants to do it. Or maybe he's just smarter than everybody else and realizes, yo, I'm in the Big Ten. I got like 10 games in the Big Ten. I don't need Notre Dame. But here's the conversation. Pete Bavacqua is the athletic director at Notre Dame. He says this: we have every intention in the world, of course they do, they're independent, and every desire to keep that USC Notre Dame going for as long as it possibly can. Everything we've heard from USC and the people we've been talking to over the course of the last year and beyond is gung-ho as well. Good. However, Lincoln Riley, there's been a lot of teams that sacrifice rivalry games. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. But as we get into this playoff structure, and if it changes or not, we get into this new conference, we're going to learn some about this as we go. And what the right and best track is to winning a national championship. That's going to evolve. He's right. Look, make no mistake. This is the fallout from these massive conferences, the loss of rivalry games, and everybody said it. I remember years ago, Jamie Dixon was coaching at Pittsburgh, and he talked about, if we go into the Big Ten, boy, that traditional Pittsburgh-Rutgers rivalry will be something. He was making fun of the fact, and rightfully so, that all of these teams coming into these conferences have no connection to one another, thus no connection to the past, thus no relationship, thus no rivalry. And that's what USC faces. Man, that big USC Purdue, USC Indiana, USC Rutgers. Oh, man, that's big. USC Michigan State. Boy, that UCLA. Hey, man, when they march into Champaign, Illinois, you know it's on. Of course not. I personally understand this. Like, I like rivalries in college football. I like rivalries in college basketball. I think college basketball coaches have become chicken shit. And it started with Krzyzewski. They will only play neutral site games. You know, after Calipari got beat on the watch shot, that was it for that series. Because some little girl who posed in Playboy got her ankle stepped on by rabid Indiana fans. It was all insanity, and it still is. The truth of the matter is rivalries grow the game. The truth of the matter also is Lincoln Riley's not wrong. Look, if you're coaching right now in college football at that level, you're judged by getting in the playoffs, winning in the playoffs, national champion. That's it. No longer is it okay to go 9-3, compete for a conference title, and win your bowl game. That day is over. OVA. And that's why college coaches fought for so long not to have a playoff. 9-3. Look, we won the Pool and Weed Eater Bowl. Yeah, we're going to be announced at halftime of the big basketball game. Yeah, we're going to tell recruits we won the bowl game. Yeah, that's out. Nah, that's only for the Indianas of the world. The Pool and Weed Eater Bowl and others of its ilk, I can't even name the bowls not right now, the Scratch and Sniff Bowl. We should come up with a whole list of bowl games on this show. But long story short, that's over. And I don't blame Lincoln Riley to a certain degree. I don't. Have to figure that one out. You know, I like the Kelces. Yeah, Jason seems pretty cool. Kylie, his wife, is kind of my favorite. And then, of course, Travis Kelce must have something to him because he's dating the #1 pop star in the world, right? But I don't need mothers. I've said this forever about basketball. I don't need mothers. I don't need fathers. It's always like that. Well, if you think I'm tough, you should see my mother. Now, shut up. Shut up. Well, my wife is the one that really does. Oh, shut up. Seriously, I get it. We all love mothers, blah, blah, but shut up with all that stuff. So now the Kelces, who are in the middle of, I think it is, $100 million negotiation for their New Heights podcast to be sold to one of those streaming systems. I think there's whatever, Spotify, whatever. I think there is a negotiation going on. They want $100 million. Good for them. Now their mother has to get involved. Now we're interested in old Donna. It gives me gas. I lift the cheek to having to hear from Donna Kelce, but apparently we do. Apparently we must listen to Mama Kelce. Why? Who the hell knows? I don't know, but she shares on social media calling critics of the Paris 2024 Olympic opening ceremonies homophobic. Really? This is what happens when you ban books and limit education. Look, I got to tell you something. Let me stop you right there. My mother is a teacher. And my mother, I've not had this discussion, but I guarantee if I showed my mother the books that people are, quote, banning and why they're banning them, she'd be like, what are you talking about? Get that thing out of my third grade classroom. What's wrong with you? I don't need that in my classroom. But that becomes banning books to the stupid. And let's be honest, I know. Mama Kelce isn't stupid. I know. We've got to listen to her because her little boys, one's a little crazy former center and the other's stooping a rock star. I get it. I do. I swear. I promise you I do. Everybody gets it. We all get it. When you get famous, we got to listen to the mother. Okay, wonderful. So the banning book stuff is complete crap. But again, I'm weird. My mother, my father taught me to pay attention, taught me to listen, be curious, ask questions. That's what they did. Even if they didn't do it intentionally, that's what they got. So I pay attention to what books are being banned. Yeah, I don't need third grade Johnny reading about oral sex. I just don't. You want to put it in high school? God bless you. You want to use it as an education? I remember when my brother kissed a girl and my parents found out, all of a sudden there were all these sex books around our house. My mom thinks I wasn't paying attention. This guy was paying attention. Right there, we had a little table. There was like how to kiss a woman or some garbage. I don't know, but I remember laughing. I was like 10, 12, whatever I was. I'm like, whoa. All right, little education going on here. Anyway, the opening ceremonies of the Olympics wasn't a mock of the Last Supper. If you have knowledge of the Greek origin of the Olympics and French's rich history of theater, you would have gotten this. However, because of your veiled homophobia, some of you can't discern factual information. Yeah, well, I get what you're saying. And we talked about that. All right? We did. I get that. And that's the cover, right? We all get it. We all get it. You're going to Dionysus and all that. I understand, but you're full of shit. I mean, we know what we saw. We know what you're trying to do. No, it's a veiled attempt at the Last Supper. That's not veiled homophobia. Hell, if you want to say it, screw it. You don't have to be veiled. You just say that's crap. I don't like a bunch of dudes pulling out their testicles. And if Mama Kelce digs that, God bless her. Good for her. But I don't like it. I don't need naked people covered in paint. I don't need some 350-pound woman acting as Jesus. And if you want to tell me she isn't, good for you. But I'm going to tell you she is. You're not tricking me. Just because your son plays center and he's wacky and he takes his shirt off and your other son runs around after a pop star. I don't care. I know what I saw. You know what you saw. Yeah. This is what went down last night. So do your own research into the Olympics. I did. And there's no question this. While I get what they did, they veiled it. I get what they did. They put the Dionysus thing, we get it. And they combined it with some of their, whatever you want to call it. What does she call it? Rich history of theater. But you ain't telling me this wasn't mocking the Last Supper as well. I don't give a damn that your son takes his shirt off. I don't give a damn that your daughter-in-law seems pretty nice or that your other son is Mrs. frickin' whatever her name is, Taylor Swift. I don't give a damn. You're full of shit, lady. The scene was a portrayal of the Greek Dionysus feast celebration. which is a Greek, the origin of the Olympic celebration of Dionysus, who is also known as Bacchus, who is the god of festivals, ritual, wine, pleasure, frenzy. The blue guy, that's Dionysus. Dionysus was one of the 12 Olympians. Yeah, I get it. Besides the fact that everyone with eyes and a brain can see that the performance was mocking the Last Supper, and an Olympic spokesman admitted that the scene was inspired by Leonardo's Da Vinci favorite work, it is in predictable fashion. The Olympics didn't want to take responsibility for the display that was an insult to Christianity. Clearly, there was never an intention to show disrespect to any religious group. The opening ceremony tried to celebrate community tolerance. It's our strength. We believe this ambition was achieved. If people have taken any offense, we are really, really sorry. Paris 2024 spokesman Andy Camps said during a press conference. Why didn't she say it was about Dionysus? But Mama Kelce says it. My son's a crazy man. He jumps off out of suites into the crowd and chugs beers. So you got to listen to me. No, really. My other son catches touchdown passes and dates a pop star. So you got to listen to me. I didn't listen to you for 50, 60 years. Why are we going to listen to you now? Are you crazy? If the Olympic folks said, hey, look, here is what it was, then I might listen. I ain't listening to you, Mama Kelce. It is amazing, man. We got to listen to old Peyton's dad. Yeah, we got to listen to old Peyton's dad. Peyton Manning's dad, Arch, man, he was great. He never won nothing, but he was great. We always got to listen to the dad. Shut up. The mom, the dad. I want to hear from you. I'm sorry, we didn't listen to you for 100 years. I ain't listening to you now. If the Olympic Committee came out and said, hey, look, this was a celebration. What does this guy say? This was a celebration of the Greek Dionysus feat celebration. All right. Okay. But they admitted they were mocking the Last Supper. And they apologized for it. But hey, we got to listen to Donna Kelce or whatever the hell her name is. Whatever. Ryan McGuffy is a host on, and I kind of like him, NBC Sports Chicago. He ripped into former Sox player Eloy Jimenez after getting traded to the Baltimore Orioles amid one of the worst seasons in franchise history. This is a pretty good ripping. Here it is.
We don't know anything. What's the return?
Eloy, a flipping bag of balls. I wanted to say the other word.
I cannot believe it's come to that.
This is a joyous day. This is a joyous day. I've talked. You guys know where I sit with Eloy. He's that guy is as catastrophic of a failure as any player that's come through the rebuild.
Yeah. I mean, he's been. I mean, considering.
I can't believe a team would take him on. Can we get a thank you Orioles graphic made? Thank you instead of thank you Eloy. Thanks Cubs. Thanks Orioles.
White Sox dump outfielder Eloy Jimenez's contract. Sending him to the Orioles.
I like.
You like the dump?
Dump his contract.
So basically, he may not get anything in return. It might just be you guys pay the rest of his salary.
He dumped on us for 6 years. Time to guys, come on.
I remember when Eloy Jimenez was all the rage. I remember when he was the man. I mean, he came over from the Cubs, and they were making fun of the Cubs. He had hit a home run. The White Sox were ready to rock and roll. And then it didn't. And then they had a bunch of entitled jackasses that never won anything, not even remotely close. And then it all fell apart to where now they're chasing history of the worst kind. They're chasing the worst record ever in Major League Baseball. It's kind of fascinating. Now, I grew up in Northwest Indiana, which is just south of the south side of Chicago. So I always wondered why people couldn't be White Sox fans in the American League and Cub fans in the National League. I mean, when I grew up, neither of them won. I mean, hell, I think it was like 1983, the White Sox went to the playoffs maybe for the first time in my lifetime, and then 84, the Cubs went. And I always wondered that. So I always was a Sox fan. More of a Cub fan because they were on Channel 9. I'd come home from school and they were playing afternoon games, and I dug it. Nowadays you got to play night games to watch it. But, hey, for a kid to grow the game, to grow the sport, to have a lifetime love affair with a team, you played and watched in the afternoon. Anyway, having said that, it is amazing, though. And baseball's a bitch, man. Baseball is tough. You can be a hero one moment, and then next thing you know, an 0 for 32 streak extends into batting 210, and you got a real problem with your career, and that's exactly where Eloy Jimenez went. By all accounts, Jimenez is a pretty good guy, but by all accounts, that locker room was a train wreck of ego, arrogance, and utter stupidity. Yeah, that was pretty good. Good for Ryan McGuffy. Hey, I think he's still partying, I'm not sure, but Alex Ovechkin, he talks about the role beer plays in NHL locker rooms. Listen to this. I don't hide it. I like the taste of beer. I like light beer. Sometimes I can drink Guinness. I can't imagine a player who says he doesn't drink. He quit. You can take a break for a certain time, but after the game, 2 or 3 cans of beer with pleasure. It's useful. In Washington, we have a refrigerator with beer in the coaching room. It's normal. Yeah, why not? You know, I have a story for everything, and this is right after college. I and a friend of mine and I drove, we called it, what do we call it? Blank Heads Across America tour. We drove from Chicago. He was interviewing for a job in Colorado at the University of Colorado with the basketball team, and then we went out to Vegas, we went out to L.A., then we circled back through Dallas. It was kind of the trip of a lifetime, kind of fun. I realized I was stupid and Chuck was smart on that trip. I realized my interests centered on absolutely everything frivolous, and he was brilliant. He's gone on to be the CEO, president of companies. I've gone on to be wearing an ugly shirt on TV in my basement. I knew it then, and I know it now. He's smart. I know him. Anyway, one of the things that we encountered when we went and interviewed with the coach at Colorado, Tommy Miller, was this. Colorado University of basketball team, college, had a big cooler of Coors Light in their locker room after games for players. Think about that for just a second. I'll never forget Coach Miller saying, yeah, the first thing we did was, I guess, piss off the Coors family, because remember at that time, Coors was really not east of the Mississippi. It was only kind of west of the Mississippi, and it was like this holy grail of beers. Oh, man, you got a Coors. Oh, man, you got the good stuff. So he pissed him off by not allowing it. Ever since then, I've been fascinated about beer in locker rooms. You can't do it in college. You can't do it in the pros anymore. Hell, Mike Ditka, after a win, got off the team plane so hammered he drove home, he got a DUI. Others have. Yeah, that's tough now. But, hey, the coach's locker room, you got a beer, let's go. Yeah, you got 2, let's go. I don't think anybody's a quitter for quitting drinking beers or vodka or whatever the hell you want. Do whatever you want. It's the United States. Just do all of us a favor. Don't drive. I got to get this in on the first segment. This is awesome. Just when you thought the world of 2024 couldn't get any nuttier, just when you thought it couldn't, Elon Musk, listen to this. Elon Musk accepts Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro's challenge to a fight. Here it is. Let's go.
Elon Musk, quien se mete conmigo, se seca. Quien se mete con Venezuela, se seca. Elon Musk. ¿Quieres pelea? Vamos a darle, Elon Musk. Estoy listo. Soy hijo de Bolívar y de Chávez. No te tengo miedo, Elon Musk. Vamos a darnos, pues. Donde quiera. Como decimos en Caracas, en los barrios. Si tú quieres, yo quiero, Elon Musk. Di dónde.
Man, now that's the goal. I think that's the goal. The goal is to have a dictator call you out to want to throw hands. Nick, I know you don't want to wear your hat because you don't want to get your ass beat, but having a dictator call you out and want to fight you, you know what that tells me, Nick? That tells me you're pretty damn popular. Like, you got some stuff going on, Nick, if you're called out by a dictator. That's pretty good, in my opinion.
I think that's really good. Imagine, like, you getting called out by, like, President Xi Jinping, or you getting called out by, like, the North Korean guy, Kim Jong-un.
Yeah.
I'd like to see that. You versus Kim Jong-un in the ring. How do you think that would go down?
Oh, I'd kick his ass, but it would be reported as I got my ass kicked. I'd kick his ass. Let me tell you something. See all this? Mm-hmm. This is getting better. I'm doing yoga, lifting weights. It doesn't look like much, but you throw me up against a dictator, pal, it's on. The only one I don't think any of us could beat. I don't think any of us could beat Hillary Clinton. I think Hillary Clinton comes in from the back with a bullet to the head. You know what I'm saying? I don't think any of us can touch Hillary. She's the one dictator, Nick. I think. What do you think?
I think. Yeah, no, I don't even think she would like come into the arena. She would be like in the balcony. She'd have one of her snipers next to her. She'd tell her to execute, and boom, that'd be it. Run to the back of the head. You are right about that one.
Yeah, see,
the art of surprise.
Why do all these morons that challenge people to fights, why do they have to do it on their turf? Like Kamala Harris, I got to do it here. Joe Biden, we got to do it on Fox, blah, blah, blah. This guy in the neighborhoods, in Caracas. Why do all of these champions, these great leaders, have to always debate or always do it on their terms? Why?
Home turf. I guess they just want the home turf. They want to be where they're most comfortable. They want to be where the people who are going to support them are there. So, say for example, the debate that he wanted on CNN, he wants the next one on MSNBC. People who align with him, and they know that they're going to get at least something of a fair, quote unquote, fair trial. Obviously, the last debate didn't happen because CNN actually put on a pretty fair fight. But they want the home turf. They want what's most comfortable to them.
Yeah, I agree. And why? If they're such tough guys, why does it have to be? I don't get it. Like, hey, let's play that again. Can we play that again? I think this is pretty cool. This would be the goal. I think this would absolutely be the goal right here.
Elon Musk, quien se mete conmigo, se seca. Quien se mete con Venezuela, se seca. Elon Musk. ¿Quieres pelea? Vamos a darle, Elon Musk. Estoy listo. Soy hijo de Bolívar y de Chávez. No te tengo miedo, Elon Musk. Vamos a darnos, pues. Donde quiera. Como decimos en Caracas, en los barrios. Si tú quieres, yo quiero, Elon Musk. Di dónde.
You already know.
Just say where.
After Elon Musk whoops that ass, he's going to go outside. He's going to go to his car, and Nicolas, whatever his name is, the Venezuelan president's bodyguards are going to beat the brakes off of him on the side, and they're going to whoop his ass in the alleyway, just because he can't. No matter what, he's going to walk out of there with his ass kicked.
Elon Musk won't walk if it's in the streets of Caracas. He won't walk out of there alive.
No.
Right? I mean, no. I don't like it. I want a bout in Vegas. Also, I don't know, and maybe you do, I know Zuckerberg is training like in martial arts and stuff. Does Musk have some type of training?
So when that training was going on, when that whole bout was going on between Zuck and Elon, he was training for it with a bunch of MMA fighters. So at the time he was training for it until I think one of the other bowed out. I think it was Elon that eventually bowed out. But he does have some training. He's just not consistent with it like Zuck is. Like if you look at Zuckerberg now, he's still beating ass. He's still going crazy.
He is?
He looks really good.
He is?
Zuckerberg, yeah. He looks really good.
All right. I just, I don't know. If you're going to challenge someone to a fight, it usually is, anytime, anywhere. Now, this guy says anywhere, so okay. If I'm Elon Musk, all right, we're going to do it in my basement. We're going to do it in my basement. We're going to have SWAT teams around the house, and away we go. Isn't it amazing how weird 2024 is, though, that we're talking about a Venezuelan dictator, maybe the richest man in the world, throwing hands? I mean, literally, that's what they're talking about, throwing hands. It's awesome. The world has just gone to hell, and I love being a part of it. I love having this forum where we can just talk about it and make fun.